Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail, and we're continuing in Bangor County Down, and we're actually outside the Presbyterian Church on Hamilton Road. And I want to talk to you today about an evangelist who has a connection here with this church, and it's the Reverend Duncan Campbell. And Duncan Campbell was a Scottish evangelist. He was actually born in the Highlands of Scotland, and he was born on the 13th of February 1898, and he was converted in 1913 through the ministry of the Faith Mission Pilgrims. Now, he was a native Gaelic speaker. He was also a First World War veteran, and while working on the Isle of Skye, Campbell received a call from the Reverend James Mackay at the prompting of two Gaelic speaking sisters in their 80s who had been actually praying for revival. And it was only at the third invitation that Campbell actually accepted. And over the following years, he travelled from village to village preaching the gospel, with very many people being saved. And the revival actually lasted from 1949 till 1953. And you can see the building here. It is very impressive. As you can see, and of course you have the tower. Pretty impressive. And on one occasion, Campbell was the main preacher at the Faith Mission Convention, which was actually held here at Hamilton Road Presbyterian Church. And he suddenly felt that he must leave at once, despite being due to speak at the closing meeting there the next day, which I'm sure was a complete nightmare for the organisers. So he went, according to the call, to the island of Bernieray off Horace, where he met an elder of the local church, who, of course, the church then had no minister, and who was actually so convinced that Campbell was coming that he had already announced the meetings at which Campbell was to preach. So the minister certainly had a lot of faith. And after several days of meetings, suddenly the island was gripped with a new awareness of God. God was pouring his spirit out, and many people were being saved. You see, Duncan Campbell was a man of prayer, but he was also a man of the word, the Bible. But he would have told you himself that Duncan Campbell didn't bring revival with him. He didn't have it in his pocket, because God was already moving on the islands before Duncan Campbell arrived. And so it wasn't Duncan Campbell's revival, but it was the Lord who was reviving. And in 1958, Duncan Campbell was called to become the principal of the Faith Missions Training House and Bible College in Edinburgh. And he died on the 28th of March 1972 while lecturing in Switzerland. And one of his quotes is, "Revival is a community," I like this, "saturated with God." Revival is a community saturated with God. And so that's the Reverend Duncan Campbell's connection to the Presbyterian Road here. The Presbyterian Church, on Hamilton Road. And as you can see, it's quite an impressive building. It certainly is. And just across the road there, you have the Carnegie Library and Municipal Teaching School, or Technical Teaching School, And so that's the building just across the road. And so I'll give you another wee view of the church here. I'll try and give you a better wee view here from the road. And that's Ward Park just in there. So it is. It's a great park. I've been in that park a number of times. And so that's Hamilton Road Presbyterian Church, which has a big connection with the Reverend Duncan Campbell and the Lewis Revival. God bless.